I'm going to break down exactly how Jordan Peterson makes $1 million per month. Check this clip out.
Can I ask you bluntly how much you make?
I make $80,000 a month on Patreon. My book is selling about 20,000 copies a week. I have royalties that probably amount to something approximating $1.50 on each of those. The tours garner about $35,000 to $50,000 an evening. I have a business that's generating, I don't know, something in the neighborhood of $200,000 a month for me personally. There's some other smaller sources of income than that.
Then you are making a lot of money.
Yes,
Out of this.
I certainly am. And so are a lot of other people.
Now, the savvy mathematicians among you may have noticed that although Jordan Peterson is printing cash, he's not making $1 million per month. Don't worry, in a few moments I will play you an additional clip where Jordan Peterson reveals how he's making $1 million per month with one additional revenue stream. The real question here isn't how much money does Jordan Peterson make, but how was he able to do it? And how could you do it? In the last 12 months alone, I've helped 3 businesses scale to $100,000 per month using the same sort of social media strategies Jordan Peterson has capitalized on. The crazy thing isn't actually how much money Jordan Peterson has made, but the fact that anyone can do it. I'm going to break down to you one of the holy grails of content creation, which is one of the methods Jordan Peterson stumbled on. Did any of you guys ever watch a TV show called How It's Made? It was my late nan's, bless her, one of her favorite shows. It was a TV show where they would go around and they would film just how things are made. It could be a laptop, it could be a table, it could be a glass, it could be the phone I'm recording this video on now. And it was a holy grail in content production. They had a fixed format which they could rinse and repeat. Each week, it would be a new factory or a new manufacturing process or a new episode on how something was made. It kept nerds like me entertained endlessly, and all they had to do is rinse and repeat, and the audience would come back time in and time again. Jordan Peterson stumbled across this in 2016 when some of his lectures and rants first started getting posted on YouTube and going viral. He then realized all he had to do was video the lectures he was already making. He could rinse and repeat a bit like How It's Made, and the audience would come back time in and time again. His hot takes, his opinions, and his lectures were enough to stir up a huge amount of commotion on social media. And before you know it, he had an audience of millions of people who found what he had to say entertaining and engaging. And before you know it, views started turning into a loyal fan base, which he was able to capitalize on. I had a similar experience with a previous client. He was a car dealer for a living. For years and years, he used to sell cars. And then he noticed there was a gap in the market. And what he started doing was he started recording himself negotiating for cars. And he would upload this onto TikTok, onto YouTube, and these videos would get millions and millions of views. Again, a bit like the How It's Made strategy, he was able to rinse and repeat. He had a format which worked, which started building and cultivating an audience. Then, as he cultivated an audience, he realized that maybe there are some services which I could provide to these people. So what he started doing is he offered a car buying service where he would go away and he would purchase your car for you for a price. So you didn't have to go through the car negotiation process, which is sometimes pretty horrible. You'd make sure you wouldn't get ripped off. You'd buy a decent car. You'd buy it at a fair price. And on top of that, you wouldn't have to go through all the aggro of doing it. So to be honest, you'd probably end up spending less money and you have a way better service. So again, he managed to hit the holy grail of content production where he was able to rinse and repeat a format which cultivated an audience. And then, similar to Jordan Peterson, he was able to funnel that audience into a service or a product which he could sell to them, which is of value to those audience members. How does this tie back to Jordan Peterson? Well, so far, bearing in mind that previous clip was 6 years old, we found out he's making $80,000 a month on Patreon. He was selling 20,000 copies of a book a week, which is making him about $30,000 a week. He was earning $35,000 to $50,000 per tour date he did. God knows how many tour dates he's doing in a month sometimes. And then he had another business, which was making him $200,000 personally as well. Bear in mind, that was 6 years ago. Now, just a couple of days ago, he revealed how his latest business venture is making him $1 million per month. Check this out.
So we launched Peterson Academy in September, and we talked about it, and it's been a stunning success. We have 40,000 students.
That's amazing.
We think we're the most rapidly capitalized. We're one of the most rapidly capitalized companies ever, especially with our degree of investment, because we run a lean show. We have great professors. We have a great social media site. We had to kick 10 people off it. We have 15,000 active users. 10 people were dragging it sideways.
What were they doing?
They were causing trouble, Joe.
Sociopaths.
They were causing trouble.
Yeah.
Well, or immature, or out for, or didn't know how to conduct themselves. Or, that's all it took. And now everyone is sharing ideas, and my daughter and her husband, they keep a close eye on this.
That's great.
We have secured funding to the point where we are dropping the price from $5.99 to $3.99 a year as of today. Right. So that should make it accessible to a lot more people.
The real secret here is Jordan Peterson has mastered trust at scale. He's been making content year in, year out on what he truly believes, okay? Sometimes it's well thought out lectures, sometimes it's rants, sometimes it's him covering the news. He's clearly a very smart and intellectual person. He's been showing up time in and time out, expressing his thoughts and his feelings to an audience and fan base of millions of people who now trust him. They may not agree with everything he says, but they do trust the guy. And now it means every time he has a product or a service he thinks he can offer, he has a huge audience of millions of people who trust this man enough to buy and purchase his services. It's truly an amazing thing he has done. The key takeaway from this video is if you can build trust at scale, if you can generate content which can cultivate an audience, it then becomes relatively easy to funnel them into a business, service, or product which you can capitalize on. If you found this video at all of any value, hit the subscribe button. Cheers.